Tonight on CBC Vancouver News.
It's a significant change. We're losing a lot of knowledge from those people who are going to be laid off.
Numerous BC colleges and universities brace for job cuts, and students wonder what will happen to courses.
I have many friends who had to delay their graduation.
Plus, he was called BC's most wanted fugitive, but now he's convicted of first-degree murder in a deadly shooting almost 8 years ago. And
distance matters, because as smoke travels, it changes.
And can become even more toxic. Our Johanna Wagstaff will explain why.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Hello, I'm Dan Burritt. Thanks for joining us. If you or someone you know is heading to college or university in September, listen up. Numerous post-secondary institutions in BC are warning of layoffs. And as Kira Junos reports, many are blaming a decline in international enrollment.
Multiple BC post-secondary schools are announcing job cuts this week, adding to a growing list of layoffs hitting the province's higher education institutions. Among them is Kwantlen Polytechnic University, which says it's letting staff go because of significant declines to its international enrollment levels due to the federal government's study permit caps. By January, the school plans to cut 8 staff from its School of Business, which has historically seen many international students enroll. And it says that it plans for about 40 more job losses by March 2026.
It's a significant change, a generational change. We're going to lose a lot of knowledge from people who are retiring earlier than anticipated. We're losing a lot of knowledge from those people who are going to be laid off.
Vancouver Community College, meanwhile, will be getting rid of about 30 staff from several programs, and Langara University has issued 69 reduction notices to staff. Like KPU, these schools say declining international enrollment is the main cause, and because BC mandates them to not run deficits, they're choosing to cut staff. Cole Reinbold with the BC Federation of Students says layoffs ultimately impact students.
And I have many friends who had to delay their graduation by 1 year or 2 years because of restricted course offerings. So what that does is it increases the total cost of getting a degree by tens of thousands of dollars.
For years, the bulk of KPU's tuition revenue has come from international students. In a memo to faculty, the university's acting president, Diane Purvey, wrote the continued international enrollment decline means revenue this year is now projected to be $5 to $10 million lower than forecast in the 2025-26 budget. Mark Diot says this model at KPU and other universities is not working.
It's no longer able to be sustainable on domestic student tuition alone, so the model needs to change. But unfortunately, the provincial government has not shown leadership in this area.
Post-secondary Education Minister Jessie Sunner was not available for an interview. In a statement, she writes in part, "We know that KPU is taking steps to improve its financial situation. Our ministry will continue to work closely with the institution as it seeks to return to more stable financial footing, and with all post-secondary institutions as they work to manage their operations and budgets through these financially challenging times." Kira Junos, CBC News, Surrey.
In Maple Ridge, homicide investigators have now taken over a missing person case. Police say criminality has been suspected in the alleged disappearance of a woman known as Jessica Cunningham. The area around a home near Harrison Street and Gillis Place has been cordoned off for a significant amount of time. Police are gathering evidence and not providing many further details right now. Anyone with information is asked to contact RCMP. A man once dubbed BC's most wanted fugitive has now been convicted of murder almost 8 years after a deadly attack. Homicide and gang investigators say Brandon Teixeira has been found guilty of first-degree murder, attempted murder, and discharging a firearm with intent in the murder of 28-year-old Nicholas Cabra. He was killed in South Surrey in 2017 in what the Crown alleged was a contracted hit. Police called Brandon Teixeira a serious public safety risk and offered a big reward to help find him. In 2019, he was arrested in California. Police say he rammed an armored vehicle in trying to escape. He pleaded not guilty when his trial began in BC Supreme Court in March. First-degree murder carries an automatic life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years. Teixeira will be sentenced at a later date. Victoria Police have a new chief constable. She officially took over the reins at a ceremony earlier in the day. Reporter Catherine Marlowe has more.
A bit of pomp and circumstance to signal a changing of the guard. Leadership of the Victoria Police Department was officially handed to Chief Constable Fiona Wilson today as the flag was passed from outgoing Chief Del Manic through the Esquimalt and Victoria mayors and the head of the police board. Wilson, Victoria's first female police chief, comes to the role with over 26 years policing experience, most recently as a deputy chief with the Vancouver Police Department. She admits she has a lot to learn about Vic PD and about both Victoria and Esquimalt, the communities that it serves.
I have learned that they are indeed two very diverse communities, and I'm looking forward to addressing their differences and their challenges as we move forward.
Wilson's arrival comes as Vic PD works with the City of Victoria to address community safety and street disorder.
For anyone who knows me, you know that I take a very compassionate approach to social challenges in our communities, but I also think it's really important that everyone in community can enjoy public spaces. And so through that lens, I will be tackling these challenges head on.
She also oversaw the reintroduction of school liaison officers in Vancouver, something that is now happening in Greater Victoria schools too. Outgoing Chief Del Manic says he has full confidence in his successor, though he points out that she can't solve the city's problems herself.
But I can tell you, no police chief, as great and as accomplished as Chief Wilson is going to be able to do it alone.
Wilson says she's excited to head on patrol with her new officers to start learning more about the region. Catherine Marlowe, CBC News, Victoria.
A potentially precedent-setting court case kicked off earlier in Ontario. A group of landlords is trying to quash Hudson's Bay's plans to sell dozens of leases to a billionaire in BC. Ruby Liu was listening in court earlier in the day as the lawyer for the Bay argued she should be able to take over 25 leases. Liu plans to transform the locations into a new department store chain. The landlords, though, oppose that plan, claiming Liu doesn't have the financing or a detailed business plan. Emergency officials say 12 people were sent to hospital after two boats rammed into each other on Okanagan Lake near Kelowna. BC Emergency Health Services said they got a report just before 9 p.m. Wednesday night where two boats crashed near the William Bennett Bridge. Officials say 5 patients were in stable condition, 7 in good condition. It's not yet clear what caused this crash, but police say they have confirmed impairment and weather were not factors. In New Westminster, crews were busy battling an early morning house fire. The home is located on Queens Avenue and 10th Street. Firefighters say it was a vacant single-family home. They say no one was hurt.
They knocked it down quickly in the first half hour or so, and then there's been spot fires still. We're unable to go inside because of the structural integrity of the house is compromised.
It's not yet clear what sparked that fire. An exemption that allows Canadian retailers to ship their products to the U.S. duty-free is set to end this week. It's called the de minimis exemption, and it was targeted by U.S. President Donald Trump in an executive order signed this summer. As Paula Duhachik explains, small businesses in Canada say they're the ones who will pay the price.
So all our best sellers get put right close to our packing station.
The end of the de minimis exemption could mean a big hit to sales for this Brampton clothing maker. Right now, about half its online orders are to customers in the U.S. Americans love your t-shirts.
They love our t-shirts.
Tell me about your hoodies. These hoodies, t-shirts, and sweatpants are 100% made in North America, with U.S. cotton knit, dyed, and cut right here in Canada. But even so, the end of this critical trade exemption means he expects to pay significant new fees to get the product into the U.S.
As little as the shipment is valued at, even if it's $50, there's a nearly $20 fee to just get it across the border. So that will bring about a lot of resistance from U.S. clients. I'm sure we'll lose customers.
It's still very hard.
This trade lawyer says the end of de minimis is a big deal. Up till now, companies could send up to $800 worth of goods into the U.S. duty-free, but thanks to an executive order from U.S. President Donald Trump, that exemption is ending Friday.
It hits so-called mom and pop shops disproportionately. And many of them who have relied on these low-value shipments to the United States as part of their bread and butter for survival are being hit by this.
That could be the reality for this Vancouver-based retailer.
There's definitely a chance the business doesn't survive this.
She's trying to make sense of the new rules, but in the meantime is taking drastic measures.
We have cut off all of our shipping to the United States because right now, with the amount of risk and lack of information shipping to the States. We can't justify it.
The Canadian Apparel Federation says it will be a big adjustment for businesses to move forward in a world without de minimis. For now, this t-shirt maker is mulling its next move, which will likely involve a renewed focus on the Canadian consumer. Paula Duhacek, CBC News, Brampton, Ontario.
Wildfire smoke does not stay the same once it leaves the flames. As smoke drifts, chemical reactions can make it even more toxic. And as meteorologist Johanna Wagstaff explains, scientists are now working to pinpoint when and where the health risks are greatest to try to build that into future forecasts.
This smoke is fresh and already dangerous, but get this, it may actually be worse for your health a few days from now. I'm standing in front of the active Sailor Bar fire, about 2 hours northeast of Vancouver. It's just one of the many wildfires that have impacted Canadians this summer, the second worst season on record. So if you've experienced poor air quality recently, you're not alone. Think about smoke drifting from Manitoba into Ontario, or haze in Newfoundland that started in Nova Scotia, or BC skies darkened by fires in Washington. Turns out, distance matters. Because as smoke travels, it changes. When smoke particles react with other molecules in the air, they undergo a chemical process called oxidation, the process of adding an oxygen molecule to a compound and losing an electron. So these compounds with only one electron are unstable and highly reactive. We call them free radicals. More and more research shows that when you inhale them, those free radicals can damage cells and tissues. And the longer smoke lingers in the atmosphere, the more these free radicals are made, making it all the more toxic to breathe.
So you can imagine that this wildfire plume is like a reaction vessel, and lots of different processes are happening, induced by the water, induced by the sun, induced by the wind, and these oxidants. So the molecules that we're breathing are not the same when the plume has aged, is what we call it.
One study compared two smoke compounds, one that forms right when that fire starts burning, and one that forms later when smoke reacts with pollution like nitrogen oxides in the air. So researchers actually exposed human lung cells to both, and the results were clear. The old smoke was far more toxic. Here's where it gets tricky. It's not just about how old the smoke is, it's also about how much of it you're breathing. Concentrations usually drop as a plume travels, so sometimes the risk can actually be lower the farther away you are. But there's a sweet spot, or more like sour spot, where the smoke has had time to build up those toxic free radicals and is still thick enough to make it into your lungs in harmful amounts.
It's a question that is debated at the moment. Is it worse to be exposed to aged smoked or to fresh smoke? And that will also depend on what the smoke is. So is it from a burning home? Is it from a burning forest?
Scientists are working hard to figure out exactly where that zone is for each fire, and they hope to start building that into smoke forecasts soon. I mean, here's the thing. In the end, it doesn't matter if the fire is right behind you or coming from across the country. If air quality is poor, the risk is real. And remember that this is about repeated exposure.
This is a chronic problem. So if we are exposed more and more, which is the case with a lot of Canadians across the country now, and we are exposed to the smoke over and over again, and that's what is problematic.
Wildfire smoke is bad for our health, but science is telling us it's even worse than we thought. And it doesn't get better with distance. It gets more toxic over time.
Darius Madavi is here with a first look at the weather. What is going on that map, sir?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about this weak low that we have sitting over Washington, just driving a little bit of that cloud that we're seeing, some of that precipitation, leaving us really with unsettled conditions across much of southern BC, and the potential for lightning in the days ahead. We'll talk more about that later in the show. I want to zoom into Vancouver for a moment to talk about the fact that we have seen some drizzle, some showers in places. Victoria got a little bit more rain than we were expecting this morning, so that is something to note, and that did linger for more northern areas into the afternoon. We may see some more showers over the next couple days, but as you'll notice, it's very scattered. This model doesn't have much coming to Vancouver, but we may see some things pop up over the next few days, and that's just going to be how it is for the next little while, Dan.
Okay, Darius, thanks.
Thank you.
Still ahead, a win for Team Canada, the first ever Women's Para-Hockey World Championships in Slovakia, and BC helped make it happen. That story coming up next. Team Canada was victorious in its first game of the first ever Women's Para Hockey World Championships in Slovakia. They won 10-0 over Team World, and 2 BC players helped make it happen. Karen Larson spoke with Benit Brach earlier about those players and why this tournament is so important.
Well, let's start with number 22. Her name is Peggy Assink. She's from Vancouver, trained at UBC. Benit, she's a neuroscientist at Cambridge University right now. But she's also been playing para hockey for forever, almost 20 years on the women's national team. That's Peggy scoring right there. Beautiful goal by Team Canada. She's really interesting. She was given the name Bomb Squad along with one of her line mates because they're not afraid to go into the corners and mix it up. So she had a goal and 2 assists in that first game against Team World on Tuesday. So Maggie Manning, she's from Salmon Arm. She's the goalie on the team, had a shout out in that game. There's Maggie. She wears number 1 because her favorite goalie was Vancouver Canucks, Roberta Luongo, who also wore number 1. She's a respiratory therapist at BC Children's Hospital. She used to play stand-up hockey and ringette in goal, and then when her disability became too much, she moved into para hockey and has been doing a great job leading leading the team. And now you asked about why this tournament is important. As you said, it is the first ever for women. Of course, there are para-hockey tournaments also at the Paralympic Games, but not specifically for women-only teams. Para-hockey at the Paralympics is called mixed, even though it's mostly male skaters, male players that get into that. There have been 3 females, but you know there's a difference between the athletic abilities of men and women, and so women have a hard time cracking Paralympic teams. So what these group of women want is for women's para-hockey to get into the Paralympic Games for 2030. There's a process for that. The first is having 2 world championships and making sure there's enough teams around the world to have a tournament to the Paralympics. So that's what they're working towards now. If you're around at the end of September, Maggie Manning, the goalie from Salmon Arm, is going to have an introduction to para-hockey at the Richmond Oval, and everyone's invited. Wow.
Karen Larson reporting. Now, amid that success, alarms are being raised about the safety of sports in this country. A commission has found athletes are being left vulnerable to abuse of all kinds. Philip Lee Shannock now with the recommendations aimed at turning that around.
A damning finding about Canadian sports. Athletes of all ages and levels haven't been properly protected from abuse.
The Canadian sports system is in crisis. It is broken.
A national commission investigating systemic abuse in sport spoke to hundreds of athletes, coaches, and organizers. It found a culture of silence, underfunding, and a lack of leadership and accountability, and that allowed mistreatment in sports to go unchecked.
Including physical punishment, sexual assault, training while injured, humiliation, intimidation, isolation tactics, failures to provide medical care, discrimination and exploitation.
Those kinds of stories heard at a parliamentary committee in 2022 sparked this commission. This former gymnast spoke of abuse by her coaches.
We could sit here for hours telling you stories.
Now a lawyer and advocate, Amelia Klein, is hopeful.
Having a national strategy, having a report that even just calls out that problem is significant.
The preliminary report makes 71 recommendations for safer sport. They include establishing an independent national body to provide oversight and strategic leadership, a new national funding model for sports organizations to ensure fairness and stability, a national education program, and a national sports authority to investigate complaints and enforce safe sport rules. Canada's Secretary of State for Sport said in a statement, abuse and maltreatment have no place in sport, and that the government will carefully analyze the full preliminary report. A national summit will be held in Ottawa next month, bringing together sports organizations, coaches, and athletes. The Commission's final report is expected next year. Philip Lee Shannock, CBC News, Toronto.
There's a look at the day that was in Revelstoke with a train idling somewhat. There was some sunshine peeking through that smoky sky, though. And Darius will have your BC-wide weather forecast coming up. Vancouver's VanDusen Botanical Garden is celebrating 50 years this weekend. In 1989, CBC Canadian gardener host David Tarrant visited the grounds to see just how they built it. Here's part of that episode.
See, you're going to think I'm really silly.
What's that?
Well, where would you travel to see this?
You couldn't see a finer group of azaleas and rhododendrons anywhere in the world. I promise you that.
Absolutely.
You know, Vancouver is one of the sort of most secret city of gardens in the world yet. Not everybody knows. Everybody knows about Butchart Gardens, but they don't realize that we have this, the Sun Yat-sen, and the Toby, UBC, all these marvelous, and the parks, of course, are great. But Bob, we couldn't be here on a better day.
Oh no,
the
absolutely
scent is
not.
remarkable.
What gets me is the garden was opened 1975.
That's right.
Well, it's a young garden.
Oh, it is.
And look at it.
It's just beautiful. Well, you see, this is what I really love. Let me just get up in here a minute, because it's the Eddie's White Wonder, and it's got those 4 petals. It's a dogwood.
Now, the garden has come a long way since it opened, but it was no easy task. Our Tanushi Bhatnagar toured the garden and learned about its surprising origins.
I'm at VanDusen Botanical Garden, right in the heart of Vancouver. And this tree behind me was planted in 1975 by Mr. VanDusen himself. Now this tree and the garden both are turning 50 this Saturday. But what's right now a garden wasn't always planned as a botanical garden.
So we're surrounded here by the Great Lawn, as we call it today, but it used to be golf greens.
In the early 1900s, this was the original location of the Shaughnessy Heights Golf and Country Club. It was owned by Canadian Pacific Railway. By mid-century, the golf club was in trouble. The company wouldn't extend its lease and had other plans for the land. But Vancouverites came to its rescue.
And then in the late 1960s, 89 individual citizens formed the Vancouver Botanical Gardens Association, and they advocated for it to become a botanical garden and not just a standard park. And so we created this.
On August 30th, 1975, the garden opened to the public. It was named after W.J. VanDusen, who paid for a third of its cost.
A lot of the sculptures that you can find throughout the garden have been donated as part of symposiums and exhibitions over the year. Just lots of hidden gems and stories that you can find as you walk through the garden.
In fact, much of the landscaping is exactly how it was planned all those years ago.
Areas like the formal rose garden, rhododendron walk, the hedge maze, which is super popular for families, those all existed since 1975. A lot of the beautiful lakes, such as the one we're standing right in front of, Livingston Lake, were also part of the original plans.
The signature Elizabethan maze is also an original feature.
It's been around since the beginning and was designed by Roy Forster, the first garden director and curator. And it's one of just a few in North America. It's a very unique feature, all made of natural cedar trees.
So, Emily, you've told us a bit about the history of the garden, what it was before, and all the parts of it. But this place right here seems like the future of the garden.
Yes.
So tell us more about where we are right now.
Yeah, so this is the Learning Garden. It just opened last year, and this is one of the only places where people can actually get their hands in the soil and really learn about how to grow their own food and where food comes from.
What do you hope this amazing, beautiful place is going to look like in the next 50 years?
Our mission is the same, to connect people to plants and to connect them to nature, and for them to learn about some of these important themes like sustainability and growing their own food and being able to practice that in their daily lives.
From golf club to cherished green space, the VanDusen Botanical Garden is still a draw for locals and visitors 50 years after it was first planted. Tanushi Bhatnagar, CBC News, Vancouver.
Most Canadians can remember how bad the wildfires were 2 years ago. Now, a new report shows that in 2023, Canada recorded its worst air pollution in a quarter century, a serious threat to people's health. And as Jennifer Yoon explains, it also looks at how climate change can fuel pollution.
2023, the worst wildfire season in Canada's history, scorched millions of hectares and forced thousands out of their homes. Now, a new report says wildfire seasons like those are also reversing decades of progress on air pollution. Between 2018 and 2022, less than 5% of the Canadian population breathed in air polluted beyond national standards. In 2023, that number ballooned to more than half.
Air pollution is like the zombie that we thought we had killed.
Climate change, driven by the burning of fossil fuels, is driving air pollution in North America, says one of the study's authors, because it sparks more intense and frequent wildfire seasons.
We had an air pollution problem and we had a climate problem, and it was easiest to think of them as separate and distinct problems. And I think what's being revealed is that they're much more closely intertwined.
There are likely more smoky summers ahead, says this researcher.
This is really high levels of pollution that are unsafe, but it is something that's becoming more common.
The health impact of that smoke can shorten life expectancy by 2 years, say study authors.
The damage that happens to the lung and the stress that it puts on our bodies in terms of the cardiovascular system is quite significant.
Governments can and should clean up the air by fighting climate change, say researchers, but individuals must also take action.
We can't wait for governments to deal with this problem and let people just suffer these diseases.
Air filters can help. Experts also recommend you check the air quality before going outside and do it frequently during wildfire season because air pollution levels can change from morning to afternoon. Jennifer Yoon, CBC News, Toronto.
Meanwhile, officials in Nova Scotia say the Long Lake wildfire has now destroyed 20 homes in the last weekend in the Annapolis Valley. They warn that fire remains out of control and now covers more than 82 square kilometers. Here's the CBC's Julia Wong with more on the damage it's caused and the firefighting efforts so far.
It's the first time we're getting an assessment of the extent of damage done to homes by this wildfire. Now, this fire started more than 2 weeks ago, and it's about 82 square kilometers in size. It flared up over the weekend, growing dramatically after Hurricane Erin changed wind behaviors. In addition to the 20 destroyed homes, officials say 11 other buildings, like garages and sheds, are also gone. They say other homes have also been damaged, but officials were not able to provide an exact number. This wildfire continues to burn out of control, with crews attacking it both from the air and on the ground. More than 500 properties were evacuated because of the threat this wildfire posed. Officials are calling it a success that more homes weren't lost.
Note that a lot of the work done by the crews week previous to that certainly aided in that as well, with the breaks they built and the containment that they did have. They held that fire for part of that day until it was just overwhelmed by the weather.
It is a very difficult time for the residents that are within Annapolis County, and our hearts have broken for the members and the families that have lost their homes or damaged property.
Crews here are keeping a close eye on the weather, with some worries that it could take a turn for the worse again. There's no word yet on when evacuees will be allowed back home. Officials are saying that safety is a priority and they aren't committing to any firm timelines. Julia Wong, CBC News, Bridgetown, Nova Scotia.
The memorial outside a Catholic church in Minneapolis is growing after 2 children were killed and 18 others injured in a shooting yesterday. The 2 dead have now been identified. And as Ashley Burke explains, investigators are painting a disturbing portrait of a shooter obsessed with mass killings. But the question of why now and why these kids looms large.
A father's agony. Jesse Merkel's son, one of the victims of a shooter police say was obsessed with the idea of killing kids.
Yesterday, a coward decided to take our 8-year-old son Fletcher away from us. Because of their actions, we will never be allowed to hold him, talk to him, play with him.
Fletcher and 10-year-old Harper Moisky both killed. Police say the shooter fired more than 100 rounds of ammunition through church windows right at children celebrating their first week back at school.
I told my 2 buddies to get down and to get under the pew, and I knew that I had to try to keep as many people around me as I could safe.
Some hid, others ran to a nearby room.
We all started to help, like putting tables on the doors, locking the doors, putting all this stuff on the doors as much as we could.
Haunting stories about kids protecting other kids.
We had one kid that covered up another kid and took a shotgun blast to his back.
Thoughts and prayers.
As Minneapolis mourns, police searching for a motive. They say the shooter hated many people and many groups except one.
The shooter idolized some of the most notorious school shooters and mass murderers in our country's history.
Police say the attacker, 23-year-old Robin Westman, died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Federal officials have referred to her as transgender. She was a former student whose mother worked at the parish.
There is no question in this case that this shooter intended to terrorize the children.
That terror, now part of the latest push to ban assault-style weapons in the U.S.
We need everybody to demand this, because no longer can any elected official say, we will not take care of the guns that are killing our kids.
The White House says there needs to be early intervention to identify potential school shooters.
I think it's time for us to start asking some very hard questions about the root causes of this violence.
Ashley Burke reporting from Washington. The White House says it has fired the head of the top U.S. public health agency less than a month into the job. She was appointed by Donald Trump himself, and her lawyers say only the president can dismiss her. As the CBC's Lisa Shing reports, the crux of the matter hinges on American vaccine policies.
Susan Monarez, head of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, seemed to clash with U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. According to her lawyers, she was fired because she couldn't get behind sweeping changes the administration is making to U.S. vaccine policy. In a statement posted on X, they said when she refused to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives and fired dedicated health experts, she chose protecting the public over serving a political agenda. Now, reportedly, the firing comes as the administration tried to pressure her to resign. Have a listen to the administration on this.
This woman has never received a vote in her life, and the president has the authority to fire those who are not aligned with his mission. A new replacement will be announced by either the president or the secretary very soon.
Monarez's tenure has been incredibly short. She was confirmed by the Senate just a few weeks ago. Have a listen to what she said during her Senate confirmation hearing on her beliefs supported by the scientific community.
I think vaccines save lives. I think that we need to continue to support the promotion of utilization of vaccines. I have not seen a causal link between vaccines and autism.
Now, this is just the latest after months of upheaval at the CDC. There have been budget cuts. Hundreds of people have been fired. Earlier this month, a shooter opened fire at the agency's headquarters in Atlanta, killing a police officer. And after the firing of Monarez, several other senior officials at the organization resigned. So the agency has been left without leadership in this period of uncertainty. And a lot of these developments are concerning to the scientific community, saying that medicine is being politicized, considering RFK Jr. is a vaccine skeptic and he wants to limit access to vaccines. And so the scientific community, as well as others, say that all of these actions are concerning for public health and could risk lives in the process. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Washington.
Russia has carried out its biggest assault on Ukraine since Vladimir Putin met with Donald Trump earlier this month. Hundreds of drones and missiles were launched, mostly targeting the country's capital. At least 21 people have been killed and almost 50 wounded. Among the damaged buildings, European Union offices. Our Briar Stewart is in Kyiv.
In the morning light, it was only too clear just how violently lives had been shattered only hours earlier, as stretcher after stretcher confirmed the growing number of dead. Our place was on the 5th floor, said this man, as he watched rescuers try and clear away an area around his balcony. He told CBC News that he had been unable to reach his wife. This was taken from inside one of the apartments after the initial explosion, but more followed.
Residents said that after the missile hit the building, the shelter filled with smoke and some residents headed outside. But a few meters away, there was a second missile strike.
If we get 1 minute later,
to the underground, we will already dead.
Andre Luti was injured by the second blast when he was leaving the shelter, which he had been going to more often because of the rash of deadly attacks through July.
I'm so hope that our Europe and America and Canada partners will help us a lot, so they understand that humanity reasons is real terrorist actions they did to us.
By that he means Russia. Moscow said it only targeted military factories and bases, but damage was strewn through Kyiv, including at the office for the EU delegation to Ukraine. Condemnation was swift.
This again is a clear signal that Putin, he is willing to continue doing this, continue hitting out at innocent civilians in Ukraine.
The White House said President Trump wasn't happy about the attacks, but wasn't surprised either, and then went on to point to Ukraine strikes on Russia's oil refineries.
These are two countries that have been at war for a very long time.
Trump has said he's considering tougher sanctions on Russia, but that doesn't mean much to the anguished families here. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Kyiv.
What is with all the lizards? After the break, we'll take you to Greater Victoria, where European wall lizards are popping up more frequently. Stick with us. Well, many creatures have been seeking shade from the heat this summer. Some are thriving. Across Greater Victoria, homeowners are reporting a surge of sightings of the European wall lizard. The CBC's Gregor Craigie has more.
Lizards are an increasingly common sight in backyards in and around Victoria. The European wall lizard is an invasive species, but they're breeding here, well, like bunnies. More and more of the lizards have been spotted this year, but they actually have a longer history. They were first brought here in the 1960s by a local resident who owned a small private exotic animal farm in rural Saanich, just outside Victoria. They were later released into the wild when the business closed, but local residents started finding them in their backyards in the 1970s. Since then, their population has boomed. There are now hundreds of thousands, maybe more. When I moved here 11 years ago, I never saw any of them, but now my backyard is crawling with them. So I headed up to Saanich to talk to Richard Hebda, who was curator of botany and earth history at the Royal BC Museum for decades. He lives close to where those lizards were first released, and he found them in his garden in the 1980s after he built a freestanding rock wall.
Which are perfect to hide if you're a lizard. We ended up creating a resort condominium for wall lizards. Even in January and February, they'd be out sunning themselves. They're all over the place.
Since then, Richard has noticed the lizards have adapted to our local changing ecosystem. They're migrating from the rocks up into the vegetation like the trees. I've found the same thing. One of them fell out of a tree on me the other day here in my backyard. But Richard says it's more than just a curiosity or cute animal story. The lizards are spreading all over Vancouver Island and the Gulf Islands, and it's a sad reflection of the two biggest environmental challenges of our time.
One of the issues is climate change, so we're changing everything. The other issue is biodiversity loss. And one of the transformative processes is the movement of species around the globe to places where they didn't grow. A new lizard, who knows what it's doing to our native, rich, ancient biological diversity, of which we must be the stewards. And as it explodes, its impact is going to be greater and greater. So we must be concerned and maybe learn as much as we can from it.
From lizards to lightning, there's a segue. Darius Madavi with our BC-wide weather forecast.
Well, speaking of our changing climate, heat wave drags on throughout much of BC. We still have heat warnings in place, although now we're starting to see some unsettled conditions move in, the potential for lightning, especially throughout parts of the southern interior. So the boundary region up through the Okanagan and up into the Thompson, up to really just south of the Caribou region. That's where we're looking at the highest chance of lightning through the day tomorrow, mostly in the afternoon. So going to be keeping a close eye on that because it has been so hot and so dry. We really do have a high potential for new fire starts. We've seen most of the lightning so far. We have had a little bit in the southeast, but mostly confined down further south of us. That may continue to come up through the day, though. If we zoom out to the rest of the province, again, we have those heat warnings in place. I mentioned those earlier. If we take a look at our fire danger map, again, a lot less yellow even than yesterday. The orange continues to build in, and we have several big splotches now of red on this map. Excuse me. This is quite a lot more. Again, last Friday, we had a lot of green on this map. We had yellow earlier this week. We're already moving into orange, and soon those red areas will probably expand because we don't have much precipitation on the way. Even though we have those thunderstorms, we may get a couple downpours, but they'll be very localized and probably not going to make a big dent in the fire danger situation. We really need some really consistent rainfall moving in to make a dent in those fire conditions. Now, those are the temperatures over the next few days. You'll notice they have moderated a bit. We're even getting down into the 20s in the Okanagan by tomorrow. But with that being said, some places, Kamloops isn't up at 39 like they were yesterday, a couple days ago, but they are still at the high 30s for now. They'll come down to the low 30s for the weekend, but temperatures are expected to climb again early next week. This is the smoke conditions that we're looking at across the province. So most of that is confined to the more southern areas. And again, this is mostly high elevation smoke. If we take a look at the conditions, this is surface level smoke and less intense in many places. But some spots, like parts of the east coast of the island, some isolated spots in the southern interior, could see some heavier smoke conditions down at the surface as well. So something to keep an eye on. The air quality in your area. Environment Canada and the BC government both have good websites for that. You can check them out. A few thunderstorms possible in the southern interior tomorrow, and even here in Vancouver, maybe up in the Alpine north of us on Friday, tomorrow. And then on Sunday, again in the morning, slight chance of thunderstorms there. Other than that, a couple showers are possible, really just drizzles at times over the next few days. And then we get back into the sunshine and warmer temperatures early next week.
Okay, Darius, thanks very much.
Thank you.
There's some better news for swimmers at Metro Vancouver. People can still enjoy a dip in Kitsilano pool for 1 extra week. The Vancouver Park Board has decided to extend the season until September 7th.
But because of the demand and there was the availability of staff as well and lifeguards, they were able to extend that time.
The board introduced a drop-in discount at all outdoor pools after some controversy around the current reservation system. All other outdoor pools in the city will close, though, on September 2nd. She's climbed the podium several times, but a Canadian Olympic champion recently ran into trouble on a very challenging BC hike. The heartwarming story of how she pushed through after this. A Canadian Olympic champion completed BC's West Coast Trail with quite a story to tell.
I'd say. Clara Hughes, who's won medals in cycling and speed skating, was hiking the popular tourist attraction when, just a few days in, she suddenly found herself barefoot.
So I hiked the West Coast Trail last week. We're having a great time. It was the morning of the third day when things turned into quite an adventure. It was still dark when we started out, and we had to cross a small river that was low flow on low tide. And I, for some reason, decided to take my shoes off. Never, ever did I think that I needed to secure my shoes on my pack or something like that, because it's just a little easy river crossing. And I was almost at the other side when I stepped on a round rock that totally moved under my foot. And the next thing I knew, I was in the water, and I knew immediately that shoe was gone. I was like wading out into the waves, looking for my shoe, praying to the gods of the hiking world, earth, please give me my shoe. What am I gonna do? And it was nowhere. There was a fellow on the other side of the river, and he saw these two women on the other side of the river scanning and screaming. And my new friend, Steve, who was standing there, asked me what happened. And I was like, I lost my shoe. I have one shoe. And he literally looked at me and said, don't worry, someone's going to help you out here. I'll spread the word. We're going to find you a shoe. His son, Marley, who's 15 years old, had donated his very cherished, very weathered, ripped and torn and worn out Crocs to me. They were size 10, a little bit small, but I put my foot in and I just said, you know what, this is gonna work. I'm just gonna try this out. And as I walked and walked, I realized it was kind of working out, and it was actually pretty comfortable because it was so worn out. It was literally like a slipper. The only annoying part was I had to like empty it out very frequently because it would fill with rocks and sand from the beaches. And 2 days later, we finished the trail. So I have a new trail name. All hikers know that hikers get trail names on the trail. My new trail name is Crocfoot. So yeah, that's my story.
Crocfoot. Good Lord. But nice Steve and everybody else helping around.
Yeah, I'd say so. My trail name was Timber because I stepped on a boardwalk. Of course
it was.
My foot went right through it.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a photo here. Take a look. This is the state of some of the boardwalks. You can see why a foot would go right through it.
Okay.
And yeah, here's me and my friends on the trail. Nope, that's the 5-day forecast. There we go. There's my friends on the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're the one on the front.
Yeah, that's me. Highly recommend it. Okay. You can't shave, though. Thanks for being with us tonight on CBC Vancouver News at 6. You can watch this newscast on CBC Gem, YouTube, and our website.
And we'll have your next local news at 11 o'clock right after the National. And Janella Hamilton will be your host here at 6 tomorrow. Good night.